here on Bachelor Party Eve. We are live on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hop in the chat. If you got a question, ask us. We got lead into the Wolves-Lakers tonight. So we're going to try and bump through this. So we try to get it in and out of here in about 45 minutes so we don't miss any of the Wolves-Lakers game. But realistically, the way these NBA playoffs have been going, they usually run about 10, 20 minutes behind. So we still might be okay. People that are watching on YouTube, I do have glasses, yes. I don't wear them very often, but I was told I need to wear them at night because my eyes needed adjusting, and I am borderline, I think, blind in my left eye compared to my right eye. When I went and got my eyes checked, and they do like the one eye test, and it was like, all right, can you read the bottom one? No. What about second? Nope. Third? Nope. Fourth? And I think I got like 4 of the 6 letters.
Can we call you One-Eyed Willie?
No, because I can.
Maybe we get
my right eye.
Call you Patches.
Maybe we should just buy him a patch.
Yeah, you're just Patches from now on.
That's what I'll wear. I'll wear that all down in Arizona all weekend.
That might wear a pirate outfit too,
dude. That might get you some chicks, bro.
You
Going
think
out
so?
In costume like, well, yeah. better odds than what I have.
I mean, it makes sense to wear a patch with a pirate outfit at Gilligan's. Like, let's just be honest.
It fits. We need to buy like we need a stuffed parrot to put on his shoulder.
Yep.
A stuffed
and then maybe a bandana, and we're set.
We're gonna buy you a bird for sure.
We're gonna buy this dude a bird.
I don't want a bird.
Well,
all I was gonna say is F Ohio State.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. I'm back in.
We'll get the parrot, and I'll just be like, fuck Ohio State, fuck Ohio State, fuck Ohio State, and we're set.
Okay. I'm listening.
That's literally all we're gonna say is there's 3, and we'll also tell him, Dylan, hey, you know what? The last time you beat Michigan was Trump's first term.
That is also a wild stat. Speaking of wild stats, I did have a tease.
Can I say something real quick before I forget?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the state of Ohio's favorite son from this past football season, Jack Sawyer, he was just drafted by the Steelers this year.
Yes.
Well, you know how Jack Sawyer is never going to forget what round he was drafted in? It was the 4th round. And how many times in his college career did he lose to Michigan, Dylan? 4.
Oh, that would be 4. and getting drafted by the Steelers, Grant, he also finally earned himself a pair of gold pants.
Absolutely.
Noise.
But I did tease you guys yesterday. I told you that I have a wild stat for you. And it involves a Big Ten team here. Can you guess what this wild stat is?
Nope.
It's got to be something to tie in with the draft.
It does. It is draft related.
I'm going to say one team has never had a first-round pick.
You are? Well, as a Big Ten member, they have never had a first-round pick.
Oh, Nebraska.
Yes. Do you know Do you know when the last time they had a first-round pick?
Was it in Dominican Sue?
It was not in Dominican. It wasn't Sue. No, it was after that. But it was
Levante David? No.
Nope.
Was it a corner or no?
It was a corner. Yes,
it was
2011.
Okay, yeah,
so the year before they joined the off season of when they joined the Big Ten, that was the last time they've had a first round draft pick. So since they've joined the Big Ten, Nebraska has yet to have a first round draft pick.
Wow. Grant did most of the work there, but I certainly pitched in a little bit.
Ethan got the corner right, and you got Nebraska right, Ethan.
I did. You had like the first 3 shots on the par 5, and I just put it in for a bird. That's what
put it in for the bird.
Yeah.
Us
scramble.
as a scramble team, this was perfect right here.
Fantastic. Yeah.
But Dylan, you're right. That is wild to think, man.
That's
Isn't
crazy.
It? I stumbled upon it on TikTok, and I was like, that can't be right. So then, of course, I go onto Wikipedia, and I look, and I go through each draft, and I was like, No Nebraska. No Nebraska. No Nebraska. And they probably should have, but there was one defensive end that was actually projected to be the number 1 pick, but he liked the weed a little bit too much and fell into the second round.
Yeah.
Do you know who that one is?
Well, that's Randy Gregory.
Yes, it is.
Wasn't he like the 66th, 63rd pick too? Like he almost went in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Something like that, Dylan, right?
It was something like that because he got drafted by the Cowboys because he was.
He still can't get off the weed, can he?
Well, he was playing for Denver, so it's legal there.
Oh, that's right.
So no, he did not stay off the weed.
No.
All
right.
But that you know who also isn't able to go in the first round? Hasn't been able to go in the first round?
Would that be Shedeur Sanders?
That would be Shedeur Sanders, which is kind of the storyline of the NFL draft here because
don't be a dick.
We're going to talk. Okay, Mel Kiper.
I'm just saying.
That was. I mean, if you're ESPN, you should be embarrassed about Mel Kiper sitting here going on talking about how the NFL has misevaluated quarterbacks for the last 50 years. This guy talking like he has been right on every single quarterback in the draft. Well, Mel, let's go back. Let's go back to turn on the History Channel. Let's go back to some of your best quarterback takes. Well, to get started here on Thursday night, which I didn't watch I don't really watch a lot of the I don't watch a lot of the ESPN draft coverage. I usually am on NFL Network.
I didn't watch any.
And the only reason I watched it on Saturday was because the Wolves were playing on that channel on Friday night. So I was like, I just kind of kept it on and kind of had it around while I was in and out of my headache nap and whatnot and kept it there. But this is Mel Kiper is the same guy that said Jamarcus Russell is the next John Elway. He also said that the Colts should have drafted Trent Dilfer and they aren't a serious franchise, which Trent Dilfer did win a Super Bowl, but it was not because of him. He was a
solid quarterback. Who did they take instead?
They took we are on a Nebraska theme. It was Trev Alberts.
Who the fuck is that?
That is the
former AD, right?
Former AD. He's the AD at Texas A&M right now.
A&M? He's better than that than football.
Probably. Well, he was a stud. He was a stud in college. He just
I wouldn't say that's an outrageous take. I'd say that's fair.
Maybe. But, I mean, the way he says Trent Dilfer, he talked about him like he was going to be Peyton Manning. And then he also, the best one is saying that Jimmy Clausen, he would retire if Jimmy Clausen wasn't a superstar within the next 2 years.
He's not retired yet.
He is not.
Boy, he should be.
And it wasn't because now Shedeur, it was out that he was tanked interviews and was not very impressive. He thought he was his dad, where his dad could have done that because his dad is a top 20. I think Michael Lombardi had him as the 12th greatest player of all time in his latest book, Football Done Right. And Shedeur did not have that ability to tank interviews because I think he was lied to by the media. He was lied to by his dad. He also didn't have an agent. His dad was his agent. And the way they handled it, saying, we're going to control the narrative. We're going to be the ones deciding where he goes, when he really, in reality, didn't have that leverage. And he didn't win the round. I kind of figured there was going to be a slide on him because, like a lot of people have said, your backup quarterback, your job isn't to be the superstar of the team. Your job is to get the quarterback where you're supposed to be watching film with him, kind of be hand in hand. And you don't want the backup being a circus, backup quarterback being a circus. And it was, I don't even know what you would compare this to. Like, the best analogy that I could think of would have been and trying not to get super political here, but almost the 2016 presidential election where they were saying there's no way Hillary was going to lose. There's no chance. And she got the doors blown off her. I mean, and it was just a continued to slide and slide and slide.
I know we're never going to know this answer, but I very much want to know how many teams actually had a draftable grade on this guy.
You know, I don't think many did.
I really
No,
after
I mean,
did you guys read about the Giants fiasco?
Yeah, exactly.
Granted,
That's what I was talking about when he was taking the interviews.
So
No,
Dable gave him a playbook to like kind of understand, and then they would talk about it in their interview. He didn't even look at it, and then he barked at Dable when Dable like came at him for like not preparing for the interview.
Ooh, yeah.
At one point, the Giants had him number 1 on their board. After that, there's no way in hell he was a draftable grade for them.
No.
So you're saying he pulled a Bo Callahan?
I guess, yeah.
Or even just like a Jamarcus Russell when the Raiders gave him that blitz tape, and they were blank tapes. Did you go home and watch it? Yeah, I watched the blitz. Okay, yep, that's it. He's not paying attention.
Yeah, 0 minutes watched.
Yeah. Or your Manziel was 0 minutes watched, but Jamarcus Russell
didn't even open up the iPad.
Didn't open the iPad, but Jamarcus Russell, the Raiders, Ethan gave him a blank tape because
that's right. Yeah,
they suspected him of not watching film, and he said, "Oh no, I watched the blitz pickup," and they were like, "There wasn't
anything on there.
There wasn't anything on there, bud."
Well, and we talked about this last week with Shedeur. It's like his ceiling is a Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and which. I mean, both of them have done pretty well for themselves financially, but when you watch him on film or watch his games, which ended up watching a lot of it because they were on TV all the time, but he's smaller in stature. He holds on to the ball too long. He takes way too many sacks, and the part that drove me nuts is talking about, well, he didn't have a run game. It's like they didn't even try to run the ball. If you watch a Colorado game, they had 0 interest. So miss me with all the crap of they didn't have a run game. It was all on him. If they gave it a shot, they might have been able to. And in games where they've had their most success is when they were where teams had to respect the run. And his arm strength isn't great either. Which in Cleveland on the lake, I think he's going to struggle throwing there. Too, just because of how small he is.
Did you guys?
And his arm isn't great.
Did you guys see the video of him and Cam Ward working out together at SMU in Dallas? The zip on Cam Ward's football compared to Shedeur is unmatched. Like Sanders cannot put the ball in a tight window in this league, and that thing's not going to get intercepted. Like the zip and the arm strength that Cam Ward showed was unmatched compared to what Sanders had.
Well, that's because Shedeur was more working on trying to get him to do a rap video or a rap song together, which also this might be an old man take here, hand up, but I don't want my quarterbacks being rappers. I want them to be quarterbacks.
No, that's a fair take.
Yeah, that seems fair.
But what's interesting, guys, is none of his teammates that you saw went out and defended him.
No, not even Travis Hunter.
Not even Travis Hunter. And that says everything that you need to know right there.
And, well, the other part, too, is like kind of the usual suspects who are the ones to first, like, scream and cry race, that he fell because of racism and he was a confident black man. They aren't saying that either. And the difference is it's like, well, I mean, I don't know if you're going to find somebody that has more confidence in himself than Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders was about as cocky. I mean, he was the one telling teams, don't draft me. And like Shedeur just doesn't have that leverage. And maybe, hopefully, at this point, I think, and just the way like he had like all the legendary and all that, it's like, dude, you got to prove yourself before any of that. Like you look at like the way Cam Ward was dressed and the way he's handled himself, like he's ready to go to work. Like I want to go play football. I want to go be a quarterback. I want to be a rapper. I want to have a flex my gold chain. type thing or gold watch. And I was going on TikTok, and the amount of fat black women that kept talking about how racist it was that Shedeur fell, I was about ready to comment on a lot of them and say, "Shut up, go eat a Twinkie."
Jesus.
Do they not realize? Do they not realize the first person taken in this draft was a black quarterback?
26 of the 32 NF first rounders were black.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's a racist league. Okay, sure.
Well, and the other part too is it was like same thing with his dad and how confident and kind of talking about that. There was we've seen this before too. We've seen a quarterback whose dad was kind of in the spotlight. I've seen this floated around in the media too, where they consider it to like the pageant moms are similar to quarterback dads. But I don't know if you guys remember, but when Kyler Murray was going in to be the first round pick, his dad was out parading around kind of saying the same stuff. Kyler went first overall because at that point, Kyler's talent was worth the risk and worth. I mean, the Cardinals drafted a quarterback the year before and had that much belief in his talent before
It was also Josh Rosen. Let's act like the bar was very high.
No, it wasn't. But that was I'm just trying to make a point.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But hey, the Browns have the most unique quarterback room in the league. Easy.
I saw a tweet today that it was because Shedeur apparently went to some school, and somebody tweeted below, I'm just glad we have a quarterback that's allowed to be around kids now.
Oh,
Jesus.
no. That's
brutal.
brutal.
Dylan, I got another stat for you quick, not related to football of any kind, though.
Okay.
Byron Buxton played in his 800th game tonight. Guess how many steals he has?
Uh, 235.
Grant?
He played in his 800th game. I'm going to say 350.
How about 100? How much BS is that?
That's it?
Yeah, they never let him run. Granted, he is always hurt, so that's part of it. But yeah, they the last 5 years have just neglected his speed by not letting him run.
That's just malpractice.
It's just ridiculous. Like, what are we doing?
That's just insane.
Like, the dude's 6'4" and he runs like a gazelle. If you throw him out, my God, I don't know what you have.
You're Yadier Molina. That's who can throw. That's who can throw him out.
Pretty much.
And that's the list.
And maybe Joe Mauer on a good day.
Maybe, but that's it. No one else is throwing him out.
Nope.
Even if you had Chapman throwing 104-mile-an-hour fastball and Molina behind the plate, I think he's making it.
Is Chapman still in the league?
I have no idea.
If he is,
he's probably just beating another woman.
Probably.
Seems like all he's good at nowadays.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's transition. We're instead of talking about a backup quarterback in this league, let's talk about our teams. Talk about how we liked our team's draft, and we're gonna pick a player that we loved and a player we were like we're gonna have the jury out on them still. So we'll get started here. Ethan, it's your bachelor party tomorrow. So who's the one player that you love from your draft?
It's got to be Donovan Jackson. Like, absolutely perfect fit. I didn't think he'd be there at 24, to be completely honest with you. But super versatile, athletic, just a bulldozer of a guard, like exactly what we needed to match up with Fries on the other side. Honestly, this pick very well could solidify us as a top 5 offensive line in the league.
And gives JJ some added protection.
Mm-hmm.
There's zero excuses as to that he won't be able to thrive, and I think he will. I think there's a lot of trepidation with JJ. Just talking to some of the Viking fans around here, but I know Ethan, you're excited for him. I think there's people that are starting to turn the corner on him. Just know that
He had a fantastic media session yesterday.
that's I saw a couple of snippets of it, and it looks like he's gained some of the weight that he lost from his surgeries. So his chest looks a lot bigger. So, which I want to say that's about 10 pounds heavier of what he played at in college. I want to say he was around like 205 in college. So
he had a couple statements that were like just really good that I've never heard before. Like one I think was calmness in the chaos. Like,
yeah,
the NFL is crazy. The quarterback position is crazy. Like just being calm in that, and that's exactly what he does. Like just look at all the times he did it at Michigan. Like when they needed a play, he did it. Like it was quite literally calmness in the chaos. So like preaching what he does, honestly.
Well, and that goes back to his meditation before each game.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean he manifested everything he said. There was I think it was after they lost to Indiana in the COVID 2020 season. He talked about how they're committed. He sent a text out to everybody in the recruiting class that if you're going to party and chase girls, leave. We're going to change this program, change this culture around. And I mean, the Michigan football isn't what it is without JJ McCarthy. So Viking fans, you got a good one. Take good care of him. But Grant, who did you love from the Chiefs draft?
Well, I think like Ethan, we're going to stick in the first round, and we're going to stick with offensive linemen at Ohio State. You know, Josh Simmons. I understand he's coming off a knee injury this year, but look at the last football game the Kansas City Chiefs played. Patrick Mahomes just got sacked again. You know, and look at the 2 Super Bowl losses they had where they got blown out the doors in that game. They could not keep the quarterback upright, and he was running for his life. It's the most important position in the NFL with, you know, maybe the best quarterback in this league. And if you can't keep him upright, this fun run they had is not going to last as long. You know, and after the last Super Bowl loss, they went and re-solidified this offensive line. Well, looks like they're trying to do that again. You know, it's a bummer they had to lose Joe Thuney this offseason, trading him to Chicago, but to hopefully get a tackle that can play, you know, hopefully for the next 10 to 12 years at a high level in Kansas City is huge. So that means Mahomes has someone who's going to keep him upright for the rest of his career. And like I always say, if you can't protect your quarterback, it's going to be a long day at the office. So I think they got it right.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to go. You guys both went with first rounders, and I do like Tyler Booker, but I'm going to be a little bit different here. I'm going to go with some of the Cowboys late round picks where they, this is some Brian Schottenheimer putting money where his mouth is. He talked about establishing these seem like culture guy picks for the Cowboys. Really what I think Brian Schottenheimer wants the identity of this team to be. He talked about being tough in the trenches. They go out and draft Tommy Akingbesote of Maryland and Jay Toa out of UCLA, both defensive tackles, both big guys. They need somebody to pair with Osa Odigizua. Mozzie Smith, he was better his second year than his rookie year, but need to see more production out of the guy. I think that they're depth picks. But if they're able to hit on that and they're able to solidify stopping the run, I think this is going to be two big gets for the Cowboys. So, and then I guess we'll snake style it. We'll go with players that the jury is still out on. And this is more, for me, this one is more so just because of, I think the Cowboys have good depth at this position, and I would have liked to see them go get an inside linebacker, but they did go get an outside linebacker and Shamar James out of Florida. I think he'll be a special teams guy for sure. And they traded up to get him, which I was okay. And like I said, I wanted him to go out and get Cody Simon, the middle linebacker out of Ohio State, a guy that's just a playmaker. He fills holes. He's flying all over the field. And just a smart, high IQ player. He wore the block up. He wore the number 0. And if you're wearing the block O at Ohio State, that's a very big deal. And I just didn't like the pick because I like I said, they have depth at that outside linebacker position. They traded for Kenneth Murray. They signed Jack Sunburn and have Maris Lufau and Damone Clark, and they're going to be getting Demarion Overshone back at some point in the year. So we're going to find out if I'm wrong, but I don't really think he's going to be a high prior or pick for the Cowboys.
And for me, I'm not going to sit back and say, hey, I don't like this draft pick. I don't like this guy because, once you get in the rounds 3 and below, it's hard to say this. But I will say this.
It's a crapshoot.
It is. It is. I'm disappointed in the Chiefs front office.
Unless you're Mel Kiper, nobody's bad at 1,000.
True.
Because the one I would say my disappointment or I'm upset is the Chiefs did not select a safety. This offseason you lose Justin Reed, he goes down to New Orleans, and then you have Brian Cook coming into the last year of his rookie contract, Chamar Connor and Jaden Hicks. There's just not a lot of depth at the safety position. I would have liked to see them go out and get another young safety, because when I say that, Brian Cook's last season, he's a free agent. Who knows? He might not return next year. So that's one thing they've been so good at these last couple of years is drafting a year ahead, where they're like, hey, we might lose this guy. Let's draft someone here. So then when it's his time to shine in year 2, he kind of had a redshirt season, and or if he played a little bit, he got that good experience where he's not just being thrown to the wolves right away, which is what they did with who I mentioned earlier, Jaden Hicks. Now he'll take over for, Justin Reed now that he's in New Orleans. But not addressing the safety position is probably my biggest disappointment with Kansas City in this draft.
Honestly, I'm probably basically going to have to agree with Grant for the Vikings too. Like I love all their picks except for one of them, like Ty Felton, getting him in the 3rd round, probably the best draftable receiver out of the Big Ten. Then you get the guy out of Georgia, the D lineman who's played all over the field. What does crap? Jeez, how am I forgetting our freaking DC? Jeez, how am I forgetting the DC's name? Flores. I knew it was an F. I was gonna say Frazier.
B-Flow.
The dude just loves players like that. Can put them all over the line, just create havoc. Kobe King, the linebacker from Penn State, solid player, nothing crazy, but good athlete. Was a high level recruit. The other guy, I probably don't like it. The tight end Gavin Bartholomew, because I know nothing about him, but I do know we need some safety depth because Harrison Smith's probably going to retire. Theo Jackson is a wild card, and you let both Bynum walk, and then you lose. Metellus is a free agent after this year, so a lot of question marks back there. There's not a lot of depth, and there's not a lot of honestly free agents out there either that could probably give you much depth, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe taking Asante Samuel and throw him back there, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Do you think it's because they're confident that they're going to be able to re-sign Metellus after the year? I mean, he does have a pretty good meat hookup at High V.
He does.
Told.
Yeah.
Gang.
That's buds.
Helped him get an ingredient so he can make some greens.
There it is. And I've seen Grant's green making game, and it is fire. It is good. I will give him that. So
we get a snap of his green beans or potatoes every day.
Yeah, you know what? I missed a golden opportunity today. I was slinging that stuff for hours, but I was too busy, and my boss's boss was in, so I wanted to keep my phone in my pocket.
Tell him to screw off.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta show customers what they're working with. Yeah.
Phone needs first, always. Tell that guy to
I mean, if I lived there, I would hop into Hy-Vee every day and go pick some of that up. And my mom would love that too, because that would be probably one way that she would get me to eat vegetables.
Eat some vegetables. Often. Nothing like vegetables covered in some world butter with a little Chipotle seasoning and cheese, Dylan. But it's still a vegetable.
Oh, it is. Exactly. It's healthy for you.
Guys, it's funny you mentioned that. I get the same reaction every single day. They're just like, that shit looks fire.
Yep. But, all right. Well, I think that wraps up our NFL draft talk here. We got Wolves, Lakers. I said we're going to try and get out of here in about 45 minutes. So, figure if we do about 10 minutes Wolves, Lakers, We'll do curveball of the week, and we're in and out. We're men of our words here. So Wolves Lakers. Wolves up 3-1. Game 4 on Saturday or Sunday was incredible. Back and forth. Wolves. What did they? They started the third quarter off by not scoring for like 4 or 5 minutes, or they hit a field goal and then they didn't score for like 4 or 5 minutes, and the Lakers got up by like 10.
Well, and wasn't it like a 12-0 run to start the quarter by the Lakers?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Something like that. Mm-hmm.
And Naz Reid was huge. Jaden McDaniels, all the guys that we said were going to have to play big have been playing big outside of game 2. And I don't think it's been discussed, because we talked about it a little bit before about Julius Randle. We need to see something big from him in these playoffs. And the way he has played defense has been incredible. Him and Naz Reid, the way they were D'ing up in that fourth quarter was the main reason why they were able to make a comeback. And I mean, I think this is also showing the coaching mismatch between Finch and JJ Redick as well. I mean, JJ didn't sub the entire second half. I think they
just stormed out of his press conference when asked about it.
They didn't sub for the final 28 minutes of the game. Yeah, I think they subbed with like 3:42.
3 minutes and 12 seconds left was the last substitution they had.
And
in the second quarter.
Yeah. So yeah, essentially the last 27 minutes of game time, they didn't sub. And you could tell they were running on fumes, and I think they had a shot to tie it. And even if they would have made it, I still think the Wolves pull away, because Lakers were dead.
They're fatigued.
They had nothing.
They're gassed.
And I mean, you can sit here and talk about the call that they challenged on the Anthony Edwards, which, I mean, they show the Hawk view. His arm did slap Ant on the wrist, and the JJ complaining about the trip, which also a challengeable play, but
that's not
JJ
a challengeable play.
Oh, it's not? I thought it was.
Because you can't challenge a call that wasn't a foul unless it's like the out of bounds one where it's out of bounds and it's called, I can't remember the wording. There's a specific word they used, but say you're shooting a three, they don't call a foul. Same thing. You can't challenge that. You can only challenge specific times when they don't foul, when they don't call a foul. So I know a lot of people were saying, oh, they should have challenged it. Oh, they didn't have a challenge. It wouldn't have mattered if they did. That's not a challengeable play.
Oh, but anyways, though, too, so I guess I stand corrected. But now my next point was going to be irrelevant. But also, JJ saying that JJ Redick, not JJ McCarthy, JJ Redick saying how, you know how good athletic Luka is. He doesn't just trip like that. The guy's European. He flops like a fish. He flops
everywhere.
That's his best defense. Is flopping and hope they call it.
Well, this is the Wolves team we saw like last year, the first 2 rounds. Like when they smelled blood, it was done. Like it didn't matter. As soon as they got your weakness, it was over. I don't think tonight's going to be any different. Like, granted, yes, like somehow the Lakers are 5.5 point favorites. I don't think the T-Wolves don't care. It doesn't make sense. The line makes no sense. Sure, you can say they have LeBron, they have Luka. Honestly, I don't think it matters. This team, when it comes down to it, if they get a chance to take a team out, they've proven it every time that they're able to do it. And honestly, both times were on the road last year, were they not? At the Suns.
Yep. And then they were.
Game 7.
Like I guess the second
Denver.
game. Yeah, in Denver, they did the same thing. Like when they get the chance to kill you, they go for it and they finish it. And that's what matters. That's what's different about this team than really any other Minnesota sports team we've ever seen in our life.
Yeah. I think the other part too that I don't think it, like, where is LA's mental psyche at? Because I mean, they got sensational performances from LeBron James in both games in Minneapolis, and they both lost. Like, what more LeBron could probably score in the fourth quarter, but I mean, even Luka, I thought, played pretty well in game 4. They got good performances from both of those guys, and they still lost. Yeah.
And the other thing is, how do the bench guys react to just F it? We're not playing any of you guys. How do they react to that? That's another thing. Like, their confidence could be completely shot tonight. Yes, everyone's saying, "Oh, Kleber's coming back." Cool. He's not a rim protector. He's not a guy he's not one of the centers from Dallas that was up there catching lobs from Luka every single game in the conference finals last year. He's not that type of player. Sure, he can bang down low a little bit, but he's not going to deter the T-Wolves from going right at his chest. That's not going to change anything.
No. But you can also make the argument back to the officiating in that call. You could blame LeBron for that because his nonstop whining to officials is why they probably implemented it in the first place. And I think both times where he's had some questionable calls where it's come back to bite him in the ass, because if you remember game 1 of the 8, I think it was the 18 finals, where he took a charge, they reviewed it, said he was still moving, and both times he's gotten it reversed on him. Maybe the Lakers need to play Bronny more.
That's it. They're playing the wrong LeBron James.
I mean, they could play connect, right? They could play connect more, but that dude couldn't guard anything. Like he's going to be guarding Jaden McDaniels. Good freaking luck on that. Like that's not going to end well.
It would for the Wolves, so I say
that would be great. Yeah, exactly. But like they just don't have anyone. Great, cool. You have 2 of the best top 4 or 5 players in the league. It doesn't matter if the next 6 best players in this series are on the Wolves.
Yeah,
honestly,
and it looks like
the best one in the series, honestly. Or Randall.
Well, yeah, because even last year compared to this year, like in that Dallas series, Kyrie and Luka went crazy, but we were still in every single game except game 5. But like Ethan, like you said, they had the 3 7-footers that changed the series last year.
Yep, you couldn't drive on them.
You could not drive on them. And the alley-oop game was unreal because Luka was so hot. We went to defend him. But to your point, the Lakers bench, they look scared. They don't look ready for the moment right now.
No.
And no offense,
and that was the other point. Good point there,
LeBron's
Grant.
never been as clutch as Kyrie. Let's just be honest. Like Kyrie's probably a top 5 clutch player of all time. No offense, LeBron. You might be the greatest, but you're not one of the most clutch.
No, he's not the greatest. No. That belongs
I said
to,
maybe.
That belongs to well, you can't really see it here. Maybe if I let's see. No,
there it is.
I'd have to reach all the way over, but there's a guy behind me. I have a poster of his final shot with the Bulls. That guy is the greatest of all time. Even though Nick Wright has him as the 3rd greatest player of all time, which should discredit him and never have him be allowed to talk on TV again.
You know, FS1 has really gone downhill when they decided to make Nick Wright the face of their TV channel and organization.
Yeah. You know what, guys? We're available. We're on the open market. So if you want a good show that's unbiased and isn't gonna that isn't represented by LeBron to say nice things about him and change narratives and tell the truth about LeBron, we are available and we're taking calls. So hit us up, Fox Sports. But that wraps it up here for the Lakers Wolves segment. Ethan, what do you got for us for curveball of the week?
Yeah, I was I can't remember what store I was at the other day, but I was at Target looking for something for work. But I came across a toy that I used to play with as a kid. So it made me think, what is like a toy that you played with as a kid that you haven't seen in forever? What do you think? Mine was like, they were like little, like you couldn't even tell what they were. They're like little sponges that kind of look like a pill. And then you put them in water, you come back like 20 minutes later, and then they're expanded into like a dinosaur or like something like that. Freaking love those things. I play with them in the sink all the time.
Huh.
Ooh. I actually saw this because I had to go over and check on my parents' house this weekend. And I had this, it was like this Nerf ball. And you would put like a thing on your hand. And it'd be like you trying to like, you'd have a timer and you would throw the ball and play, like you'd be playing catch with people. And it would like say like how many times you touched the ball. Or Or the game, the wiffle ball game, it was called Junk Ball, where you could like move like it had like slots, and you could like adjust it based off whatever pitch you were gonna throw.
I know exactly what you're talking about,
Oh,
Bill.
God.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm watching the Warriors. Their bench is going against Houston starters, and they've cut it down to from 29. Oh my God, they missed the layup. It was 29.
Oh,
It's now down to 13.
It's a 13-point game. Yeah, I see that.
Huh.
They just missed a bunny to make it 11.
Ooh.
What is their problem? They were literally going after like it was a jump ball, and like the Rockets player like ripped away and like fell to the ground, and now he's like going at the refs. Or like the player. I don't understand it.
It's the NBA. They're gonna go at refs.
They're gonna go over everything. I gotta plug my laptop right now. So it's back.
All right, Grant, what do you got for us?
God, I'm trying to think. One toy I just haven't seen in a while. I'm really struggling here. I'm not going to lie, guys.
It's
I
tough.
do wonder though, like to kind of try to like combat the spread of germs. Are you going to see like city parks not have like the kind of backhoe type things? Remember in the sand pit, as kids we have, guys.
That is a good one. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Where it's like you could have both handles and you could spin, and it's like you were working the excavator. There in the
You know
sand
what?
pit.
That's what
Yeah,
built the
those are
immune
fun.
system with
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
parks.
Was
those
that?
are good.
I think those are what built the immune system. Were playground city parks.
That's
Going
what
around
I'm
there.
saying. And the old rusty, kind of not like tilt-a-whirl thing, but it was flat, and you had a handle you could hold on to it, and someone you run in a circle
Merry-go-round?
and try to spin it. It's kind of like a merry-go-round, but it doesn't go up and down. But those old rusty things, or even slides that were all metal,
Oh my God! Yeah,
Okay.
you get third-degree burns.
third-degree burns going down that puppy in the summer.
Oh yeah.
There was no in
Uh-huh.
between. You were going 1,000 miles an hour. Or you were gonna sit there and you're gonna lose all your skin. There was no in between.
Correct. It's kind of like playing AstroTurf for us normal people.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I was ever on AstroTurf, but
Fun fact: before the University of South Dakota got their artificial turf, field turf, whatever it was, they had that old cement-like turf
yeah.
at the Dakota Dome, and that did not feel good to hit your elbows or knees on.
Oh yeah, no. Well, even
Yeah,
NDSU,
no.
they had that old carpet for a long time too. Like I think Grant, it would have been your freshman year. That was the first year that they had the like the regular turf that what they got now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that I think wraps it up here for this week's episode of the Three Guys Talking About podcast. Make sure you like, rate, subscribe. 3GTV podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Make sure you're following us all there. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.